Should you or should I have bought Ryzen? I'm going to try and answer a few of those questions and try and clear up some of the misconfusion about Ryzen 7. Ryzen 7, do you need to buy this processor? It all depends what you're looking for in a computer. Are you looking to strictly game, or do you want a game and a complete all-rounder? The Ryzen 7 is a complete all-round processor. It's comparable to the X99 platform, comparable to the Intel 6900K. Gaming, it's not going to quite match Intel's i7 7700K, but trust me, this thing is not a pup. If you're thinking about the Ryzen processor but aren't sure, you may be wondering which one should I buy. Effectively, the processors are literally all the same. You've got three versions. You've got the 1700, which is the lowest tier. You've got the middle tier 1700X, and then you've got the flagship 1800X. All three of the chips have got 8 cores and 16 threads. 16 threads is a hell of a lot of processing power. I mean, huge. At the moment, my current system is aged very well on the stat. It's kept me going for now. But it's a Phenom 2 quad core. And the ICP jump that I'm going to get from my old chip to this, it's going to be a night and day difference. So that's why I personally went for Ryzen. Yourself, you're probably thinking then, well, what are you after? Are you after an absolute phenomenal chip for a bargain? Or are you actually after getting the flagship chip because you really want, you know, top of the line? I'd say two things come into it. Are you going to buy a motherboard and put the chip in and just run it at stock? Or are you going to overclock? Reason being, your three differences in the chips. The 1700 runs from 3 GHz at a base clock to 3.7 GHz at its maximum turbo clock. 1700X going to give you 3.4 GHz to an absolute maximum clock of 3.8 GHz, and the 1800X runs at 3.6 minimum to 4 GHz maximum. So obviously, if you're just going to buy it, put it in a motherboard, you want the fastest thing you can buy, it's going to be the 1800X, no brainer. And if you want to, you know, your budget is a bit lower and you're not too bothered about having the highest clock speeds out there, 1700. But something I need to address, two of them have got an X on the end. So you might be thinking, well, what's that for? The X stands for XFR. And if you buy a motherboard in the X370 range, it's going to enable the chip with all its sensors to basically overclock itself. Now, from what we found out from other reviewers, information everything online, it's only going to overclock the chip 100 MHz more. So the 1800X, should it run that fast with the XFR on a single core, you're going to get 4.1 GHz, and the 1700X, you're going to get 3.9 GHz. What about if you want to overclock? If you're going to buy the chip, like I intend to, and try and overclock the hell out of it, these are not the best overclockers in the world. For 8 core, 16 threads, we're never going to overclock to like what an Intel i7 7700K would. But why not get more bang for your buck? Well, you know, more power out your chip for the money you've paid for it. If you are going to overclock, you really need to think about which motherboard to buy. Now, I've gone with the Asus ROG Crosshair Hero 6. I've gone for this motherboard purely because of the overclocking potential of it. You've also got the Gigabyte Azorus. You'll have one of the MSI boards, I can't remember what it was called. But if you are thinking about overclocking, thinking about getting something decent, something quality, because these have got the better capacitors, better phases on the electrics, better heat shielding for overclocking, so you can probably get more potential. Guys online like Jay's 2 Cents, Paul's Hardware, Linus Tech Tips, Obviously many other reviewers have already overclocked these chips and boards, and the yields at the minute aren't that great. Something you should also bring into consideration if you are going to buy, there has been the typical AMD hiccup, stumbles, tripping over at the start. This is a brand new architecture, so there are issues with the boards. BIOSes are constantly being released with UEFI updates and other stuff. You got to think, guys, these are, you know, you're a first time adapter. Well, we're all first time adapters. Things are only going to get better in that sense. So there has been issues with the memory. Please, if you are going to buy and look at it, look into it, find out which memory is compatible with the board for the speed you want to get. Running 4 banks of memory is probably not the best thing to do, because these are dual channel really boards. So I would say go for a kit. There is a dual channel memory kit, and at the moment it seems like 2 8GB sticks running to make 16 is the place to be. I've bought the DDR Vengeance LED Red. I have bought 3200 megahertz. Whether I actually get that, I don't know. I'll find out when I put the system together. Some people have been struggling to get 3000 megahertz, and this is what I'm saying. It all depends on the board, the BIOS, the current setup. Hopefully it will improve in the future. Another thing we need to address, and this is I think one of the biggest hang-ups that everybody's got about the Ryzen chip. Obviously reviewers have benchmarked it in gaming, and the 1080p performance is lower than compared to the Intel equivalent chips and the flagship Intel gaming chip, the 7700K. A lot of people are, you know, oh my god, I'm not going to buy this because it's crap at games. Trust me, you misunderstand. Actually, Jay's 2 cents put a video out yesterday, I've only actually watched it today, proving the performance is silky smooth. What you've got to think, popular gaming resolution still to this day is 1080p. And in the tests, rates are over 60 frames per second. If you're playing on a TV or a monitor that's 1080p and is only 60 frames per second, you have got absolutely nothing to worry about. This will run the games perfectly. No lag, nothing, it will be silky smooth. If you've got a 1080p monitor with a higher refresh rate, i.e. 144 Hz, you should still be good, but obviously game performance is slightly lacking to the Intel equivalent. But it's not going to be any issue. Also, AMD have said it's not the chip, it's not the horsepower of the chip that's the problem, it's its architecture and the way it links in with the games. The games have not been optimised for Ryzen 7 because they can't have, because it only just came out. I've got an AMD Fury X card. When that first came out, the 1080p performance was poor as compared to the NVIDIA 980 Ti. But AMD optimised the drivers, and by the end of their cycle, the Fury X was actually as good as or better than in 1080p, 1440 and 4K, you know, it depends. DirectX 12, Fury X was way ahead. So if you are gaming at 1080p and you've heard bad review, well, not even going to say bad reviews, people just jumped on the bandwagon, oh no, this can't do 1080p, absolute BS. It will run 1080p games fine. Is all you're going to find is 7700K, which has got a lot higher clock rate, is going to blitz this, but it will. 7700K blitzes a 6900K. This is comparable to 6900K. Now in some games, it has to be said, at 1080p, it matches both those chips, you know, within 5 or 6 frames. It's only certain games that need the optimisation. So please, if you are thinking of getting it, don't let that put you off, because you are going to miss out. The last thing that I actually wanted to mention, and like any new hardware that comes out, you might run into a problem, supply and demand. At the moment, AMD done a cracking job to make sure that shelves were stocked with plenty of processors, but as I found out today, the motherboard manufacturers were a little more cautious, and I was quite lucky really. That's why I'm holding this and the motherboard now, because on the night of AMD streaming I decided Ryzen was the right move for me, and I ordered almost as soon as it went live to pre-order on, you know, websites, overclockers, Scan, Aria, etc. Now I've got some friends that actually have took the plunge. They have ordered Ryzen, but they've done it a day or two after me. Now we're expecting the same shipping dates, but I've already got my stuff. The problem that we've got now, because the motherboard vendors were cautious about how many, supply and demand has almost run out already. So a lot of the motherboards, the really popular motherboards, are already sold out and are on pre-order. So if you are thinking about buying, you're just going to have to hang on. And to be honest, it's not a bad thing. Early adopters will always pay for new hardware, in that you're going to have a lot of teething troubles. So by the time you get your board, if you do purchase from today, you know, your BIOS should be sorted, things should be a lot smoother. Another thing to think of, and I haven't mentioned, think about your cooling solution, because another level of confusion I've found that people find with the chips, they don't come with coolers. Well, not all of them. If you buy a Ryzen 1700, that's got a 65 watt TDP and comes with a Wraith cooler. If you buy one of the X chips, the 1700X or the 1800X, is all you get is the chip in the box. Because it's the higher 95 watt TDP, you have to provide the cooler. A lot of you out there may already have your own cooling solution from the AM3 motherboards, and some of the AM4 motherboard manufacturers have put the AM3 connecting holes in the board. But something I just wanted to bring up, some of you may not realise this. On the AMD motherboards, if you've got a custom cooler, you need the backplate off the motherboard. So if you can donate that from your old AM3 motherboard, you can fit the cooler on using the AM3 configuration. If you're planning to use your old motherboard in another build, like I'm going to plan to do, what you're going to need is a new backplate, or you're going to have to get a new bracket. Now a lot of the manufacturers already have AM4 brackets out in the wild. Now for this build, when I actually get to build it, bought the NZXT Kraken X62 because I want to overclock and I want to try and keep it as cool as possible. Luckily for me, NZXT are going to send me free of charge the AM4 bracket for this cooler, but they have not released them yet. They're a little bit behind. I've got to wait to the 15th of March. So people think, well, you're a bit mad for ordering now and you can't build it yet. Well, like I said, people, supply and demand. I'd rather have got the stuff now and then get the brackets I can build than not knowing how long I'm going to have to wait for the actual components, motherboards, etc. because of, you know, the lack of stock. And I fell into that trap with the R9 Fury X, so this time I knew I wanted to build Ryzen, so I jumped in straight away. Now, this is a brand new channel. I've got no intro video. The only reason I've started it now is because I wanted to get this out there in the wild, because this is the here and now, and Ryzen is here. Once I've finally got the Ryzen build set up, I'm going to utilise all its performance for this channel. I'm going to be bringing you stuff about PCs, real world cars, Project Cars 2. I'm really going to be pushing that because it's passion of mine at the moment. Assetto Corsa, all stuff like that. If you like, give me a like. If you dislike, give me a dislike. Subscribe. You know, I've got no idea where this is going to go, but please stay tuned.